Hey guys, Jack here. I got a product review from you. Gagiter, I guess is how you say the name of this company. I'm not really sure, but I am very impressed with this flame weeder. I bought one from a company called Flame King about 1.5 years ago, and it immediately began to fall apart. It was really built like crap, and it was like kind of their top of the line, so I was a little skeptical on trying another version of these. But this one is much better built. A lot of thought went into it too. Like, it is actually a two-piece device, so that actually screws apart. And what's nice about that is once you have that done, it actually packs in a little bag to be stored. It's not a huge deal. It's not some super tactical durable bag, but it's fine for storage like in a shop or something. These are primarily used for weed eradication. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Of course, you can also light fires with them. Plenty of things you can do with a torch. And you will notice, like right there on the bell, just from a little bit of use it's already had, that paint is gonna burn off there. This gets really, really hot. That's okay, that's a feature, not a bug. So, a couple things you can do with it. I kind of want to tell you what you can do with it before I show you how it works, because when it's running, it's actually pretty damn loud. One, obviously flaming off weeds. If you look around my fire pit here yesterday, I burned some trash, which is another good use for it, but I flamed all around that edge, and you can see how all this grass looks dead now. And it is, but it also, I didn't set it, it looks like maybe I set it on fire. I really did, and I'll show you in a second. You don't really want to burn weeds when you flame them. Basically, you're heating them up really hot, just like if you were to throw spinach or kale or something in a pan at the very end of a cook and just wilting it down. It ruptures the cells, and that causes that plant to die back to its roots. If it's annual, it's dead. If it's perennial, it'll keep coming back, but you can control it with this. So that's one thing. You can also burn trash with them. There's plenty of things you can do. Whenever I'm doing biochar, this is what I use to light up my charcoal kilns. You know, it's a torch. It does torch things. It also has this nice little igniter down here that is a basically a spark igniter. It doesn't use a battery. That means there's no battery to go dead or corrode while you're leaving it in storage if you forget to remove the battery, which most people will. Really easy to operate. Turn on your gas tank. One thing to know about most of these, in fact all of these tanks like this, they are actually a reverse thread. So lefty loosey, righty tighty. It's the other way around, righty loosey, lefty tighty. And this goes on the inside of a standard gas tank. Another thing about these gas tanks, you know, this is a standard grill tank. Most of you guys have one. This is what I would use for this. Yes, you can buy like a 10-pound tank that'll weigh less, easier to carry around with you and stuff like that. They're about $50, $60. These are actually less than the smaller tanks. So I'd rather have an extra one of these for my other uses. If you really need something, like you don't want to drag this around with you, and it's got a pretty long hose, so it's not like you have to take it everywhere you go. Get a dolly. You can get a $50 to $100 dolly. It does far more than this. Throw a bungee cord on it and take it around with a dolly. Okay, let's fire it up. Again, right here is your settings for gas flow. You want to go all the way on with your gas, when you light it especially, and use this as your throttle. And it lights right up. Sometimes it takes a second one. Let's go ahead and eradicate some weeds. There's a weed over here that needs some eradicating. And I'll show you, you can honestly do this to eradicate weeds. Because if you look, see how that turned bright green there compared to the surrounding vegetation? That's just like you put that in your thing. But let's see what it can really do. Now, it's got a throttle control, so that's like a little bit. Afterburner. And that's all that weed needs. That weed will not be here tomorrow. It will die back. Get that little edge there. And that actually did incinerate it. And that's what I'm saying. You don't really need to do that. But even like this, I'm not worried about this grass. See how that turns bright green? That's really all you need from your weed flamer, unless you're dealing with some really thick vegetation. Let's turn that off. Okay, one more thing. Don't touch that. It gets really hot, okay? Feature, not a bug. Another thing we can do that is we can run that pretty hard, give it some good gas, get it nice and hot, and if you're using weed blocker fabric in your gardens and you want holes to put your plants in and you cut it, it's all frayed and crappy, heat this up and then you melt holes wherever you want them, and you can usually get about 3 holes before you'll have to give it some fire and heat it back up again. It makes a perfect hole. It's the perfect size for your starting plants. If you don't, like me, if you use, I use red Solo cups, like party cups for kegger, as my starting pots. I just make some holes in the bottom with a soldering iron, and then they fit, the plugs fit perfectly in that hole, and you don't have any runs or anything. One thing if you're doing that, Be careful, don't accidentally bump the throttle when you're melting through your fabric, because it will eat a hole about that big in there. Ask me how I know. So this is a great product, very well built, weighs about 1.5 pounds more than the Flame King that I tried before. The Flame King, the whole handle just fell apart. It was made out of plastic crap. This is more like a durable rubber molded handle. I don't expect that to happen. And the Flame King also had a battery for the igniter in the handle. That was the first thing that fell out of it, even though it was a brand new battery and it wasn't corroded. This just seems much better built. More thought went into it, and it costs less. The Flame King was like 50 bucks, and I would have spent 100 bucks on a good one, but I couldn't find any that had better reviews than these at this mid price point. This is 39 bucks on sale right now at 15% off. So there's a full write-up down in the video notes there where you can learn more about it and get your own. But if you were looking for a flame weed torch or just a good blowtorch, this is what you're looking for.